Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. If you haven't seen, this has popped up all over the news regarding the president's pardon to veterans that have been found guilty under the U.S. military's gay sex ban back in the day. Now, I don't know what the number is, countless, I'm sure, number of veterans who had been discharged due to all of that. Now, on Military Times, I'm going to read through this. My question is how impactful this is going to be for those veterans who served and maybe they got discharged under dishonorable discharge, right? And now this, in my mind, I don't know, is now going to open the door for those folks to get their discharges upgraded and then be able to file for various benefits, rightfully so. So let's read through this and see if we could pick out any nuggets on the way through and go from there. So with that, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Biden to pardon veterans found guilty under U.S. military's gay sex ban. This is on Military Times. And I mean, it's all over. I mean, everywhere is posting this. So I just wanted to jump on the bandwagon here, if you're not aware, and share it with you directly from Military Times. So jumping into it, President Joe Biden announced Wednesday that he will pardon LGBTQ plus veterans who were charged under a former military law used to ban same-sex relationships in the armed forces. The pardon impacts veterans who were charged under a previous version of the law in the military's Uniformed Code of Military Justice that criminalized sodomy, including between two consenting individuals. Although the U.S. Supreme Court struck down anti-sodomy laws nationwide in 2003 ruling, the 63-year-old regulation stayed on the books in the UCMJ until Congress amended the law in 2013 to remove consensual sexual acts. Some of these patriotic Americans were subject to court-martial and have carried the burden of this great injustice for decades, Biden said in a statement. I am committed to maintaining the finest fighting force in the world. That means making sure that every member of our military is safe and respected so they can focus on their mission. And at the end of the day, right, that's what it's about. If you can do your mission, that's what it's about, right? If you can look to your left and right and you can take care of each other, that's what it's about. So moving on, this is about dignity, decency, and ensuring the culture of our armed forces reflect the values that make us an exceptional nation. Veterans will be able to apply for the pardon if they fall under the eligibility criteria. A senior administration official said, if they are approved for the pardon, they can use the certificate of pardon provided to begin the process of fixing their discharge papers, which is what I had alluded to a moment ago. So, if you had a dishonorable discharge and now you qualify underneath the eligibility criteria for the pardon, it gets accepted, you get the certificate, bam, submit that, get your discharge upgraded, and probably throw in an intent to file now prior to all that, as you're waiting for this process to unfold. So, and again, if this is something that affects you, let me throw this out there. I don't know the time frames, and I don't know what's going to be spelled out in this. This is the first time that I'm actually reading through this. So, depending on all of that, if you put in an intent to file today, that gives you 12 months to get everything together to file a claim. Let's say that this process takes a while, right? I got this funny colored hair and it's annoying. Anyway, so that process, don't know how long it's going to take. So put in the intent to file. Let's say that it takes longer than a year, right? You're sitting on your hands, you're waiting. Once the time comes at the end of that intent to file, 1 year, file a claim for whatever you're planning on filing for, even without, let's say, a discharge upgrade, right? Still file it even with your discharge status being in a negative aspect. Then once you actually get that squared away, the VA is going to deny you because of the discharge characterization. Then you could turn around and file your claim again with as a supplemental with additional documentation. Now, as far as back pay is concerned, they'll probably go to the date of the discharge of the either the date of the discharge upgrade, so whatever date's on there, which I would try to get them to acknowledge the date of the discharge upgrade as the date of the pardon certificate, if that makes sense. You want as far back as you can get, because that's as far back as you can get your back pay. So I don't know, not my wheelhouse fully, but as far back as you can go, even speak with speak with your congressional member. Let them know, hey, look, I'm in line to get a pardon here, to get the certificate. I would like this as far back as I can, right? So let's move on. Another senior administration official said that the Biden administration estimates that thousands of veterans were convicted of consensual conduct under military law, making them eligible for the pardon. So we're talking about thousands of veterans. All right. We are going to take steps to try to make it as easy as possible for individuals to apply for their paperwork to be correct, the first senior administration official said. Blah, that's hard to say. When the Department of Justice sends the certificate of pardon to those who are eligible, they will be including material identifying specifically how they can apply for the change in their character discharge along with the form so they can do so. All right, so that's good. Moving on. Some veterans, however, have additional charges on their military record related to sexual identity, conduct unbecoming, for example, that fall outside the scope of the now defunct portion of the anti-sodomy law. The second senior administration official said, the proclamation from Biden does not acknowledge the fact, but the pardon does not cover those with other charges tacked on due to their sexual orientation. Interesting. Probably more to follow, right? Those veterans with additional charges on their record would need to go through a separate process through the Justice Department, they added. In addition, I'm going to throw out that if there's a multitude of charges related to the discharge and they're all kind of in the same wheelhouse, you could probably, with the pardon certificate for one of them, you could probably work with the VA for a character discharge, essentially an upgrade for VA purposes only. Moving on, Biden's pardon for LGBTQ plus veterans comes after the Pentagon in September 2023 announced a proactive review of LGBTQ plus veterans who received less than honorable discharges based on sexual orientation through the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. According to the Defense Department, more than 32,000 troops were separated from the military under its homosexual conduct policy between 1980 and 2011. Of those, roughly 14,000 LGBTQ plus troops were issued less than honorable discharges from the armed forces. Despite the review, the Pentagon has faced its share of legal challenges from LGBTQ plus veterans. Last Thursday, a district judge denied a motion by the Pentagon to dismiss a class action lawsuit from LGBTQ plus veterans over discharge papers unnecessarily identifying their sexual orientation as grounds for separation and the responsibility for records correction being put on the veterans. The judge in the decision noted LGBTQ plus veterans are forced to bear the burden to alter their discharge papers to protect their privacy and not immediately out their sexual orientation, and to basically omit the sexual orientation aspect. The judge did not agree with the Pentagon's argument that the review currently taking place within the Defense Department should be grounds to dismiss the case. With that, that concludes it. The big piece here is that there is a pardon aspect in place, or going to be in place. There are some criteria in order to get approved for that. It's one specific aspect of a whole slew of different charges that could have been put in place for these other than honorable type discharges. So it's only affecting kind of one piece of that puzzle, but it is a piece nonetheless. So with that, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.